Hey everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're not. So for today's video I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to apply false lashes. I know for myself, when I first started trying to wear false lashes on myself, it was really hard to get the hang of. So for anyone who is new to lashes or who is struggling with lashes, I just wanted to make a little tutorial on how I apply them and any little tips I have for you. So let's jump straight in. So my first tip is practice when you're not going anywhere important, or if you're not going anywhere at all. And that is a tip that I would give for practicing anything makeup wise, be it winged liner or contouring, because otherwise you're going to put yourself under a lot of pressure, and if it goes wrong, things can be hard to fix. I know that was a mistake that I made when I first started wearing false lashes, because I was thinking, oh, they won't be something that I'll wear like just on a day do nothing, there'll be something that I'll wear for a special occasion. But then when a special occasion comes around and I tried to put them on like for the first or second or third time or whatever it was, and I'd be really struggling, it would just turn into a mess. It would go wrong and I couldn't fix it, and I was under pressure and I was late, and it's just not what you want to do. So practice when you have a little bit of free time, or if you know that you have loads of time to get ready and you can afford to switch things up and change things if they go wrong. And my second tip is to start with half lashes. And my second tip for applying strip lashes is to start with half lashes, because with strip lashes, one of the fiddly things is getting the corners down, because you have to kind of bend the lash band around your eye shape. You need your corner to stick down on the outside and your corner to stick right down on the inside. So that can be a little bit fiddly, getting them to bend in and stay in, especially if your glue isn't tacky enough, if you haven't let it dry for long enough. But a way to slightly sidestep that issue is to go for a half lash, where you don't have to bend it around your eye shape so much. So you're literally just sticking down the corner to the outside, and then the inside just sticks to the middle, so it's more of like a flat place down rather than trying to bend them too much. So that is the style that I'm going to start off with today in this video. I'm going to be using these generic number 307 lashes. There's no brand on them. I can't remember the name of the place I got them at. It was at IMAX in London, and it was a stand, began with M, I don't know what it was, but it was like a shop where you could buy loads of no-name lashes and stuff. So I'm sure you can find these if you search 307 half lashes, or a lot of brands do their own style of half lashes, or even 3/4 lashes once you get a bit more used to it. So the glue that I use and that I find works really well is Duo glue. It's a well-known lash glue, and it's much better than the glues that you might get with your lashes in a packet. So it comes in a squeezy tube like this. This is a small size of the dark one. You can get a dark one that dries black, so it'll blend into your liner or your mascara, or you can get a white one that dries more clear. So I actually tend to use the clear one more, because it's a little bit more foolproof. If you're placing your lash down and it accidentally touches off your lid or anything, it's just going to dry clear, whereas the dark one will dry black and you'll be able to see it, so you'll have to pick it off. However, with the white one, while it dries clear, it still dries shiny, so I end up having to touch up over it. Especially if I'm wearing like a black liner, I'll go over any shiny spots of glue with a little bit more liner or some black eyeshadow. So for today I'm going to be using the dark one, just simply because I've run out of my clear one, and I don't have to touch up any shiny spots because I have black liner on. But if you are starting out, I would recommend the clear one, because as I say, it's just a little bit more foolproof. So you're going to want to apply it to the lash band. You can either go straight from the tube if you're confident that you won't squeeze out too much, or you can apply some to say the back of your hand or a palette and apply it from there. So I'm just going to do that because, again, it's a little bit more foolproof. So I have a little bit of glue on the back of my hand, and once that dries, it'll literally just peel off. So I'm taking the end of a brush, picking that up, and then I'll apply that to my lash band. So I'm just starting from the middle and I paint outwards, and then I paint the other way, just because when you lift up whatever you're using to paint it on, it tends to leave a little kind of glob of glue. I don't know what you'd call that, but I want the most glue to be on my corners, because they tend to be the little sides that pop up. But when I say most, there's very little on that anyway. So it's just painting the lash band. So then you want to leave that dry, so I just give it a little wave around and just be patient. If it's your white glue, you want to wait until it starts going a bit more clear, and if it's the grey glue or dark glue, you want to wait until it starts going kind of blackish. And if you're using them on yourself, you can give them a little blow, but if you're using lashes on anyone else, you don't want to be doing that. So then once you're ready to pop them on, I like to use I like to use tweezers, and you want to look down into a mirror, so that you're giving yourself enough space between like your crease and your lashes, and just place it down on the outer corner like that, and then go in and just make sure that your outer corner is nice and stuck in there, and that your inner corner is stuck onto your lid. As simple as that. So the half style also gives a really natural look, but it also gives that kind of slightly winged effect, which is very flattering and a lot of people like. So as you can see, that half style is quite simple to pop on. Once you're used to it, obviously. If you're struggling with it, don't give up. It will just take practice, that's all. And you want to be placing your band as close as you can to your natural lash roots. So get down and even kind of touch them off your actual lashes and then slide them into the roots, if that makes sense, because you want to make them look like they're coming from your actual lash roots. So you can see there, they're nice and subtle, but they have made a difference. So then for the other eye, I'm going to apply a full strip. These are the Gagas from Revel London. And the principle is very much the same. It's just a little bit different when it comes to applying them. But also with a full strip, you always want to measure it first. So I have actually worn these before, but they still might be a little bit long maybe. So I'm just going to measure them again. So again, you're going to look down into your mirror and just place them on where they will sit. And then just see how much you need to take off the outside end. You're always trimming from the outside end, not the inside. So I'll place that down into the corner there. I don't like to bring mine all the way to the very inner corner, because you'll find that it kind of pokes you in the eye when you're blinking and looking around and stuff. It's just not very comfortable, I find. So I like to leave just a little bit of a gap. And that would do, but I think I'm going to take a little bit off the end. So I'm going to trim that in a tiny bit. And again, we're going to glue our lash, and this time I'm just going to go straight from the tube. But same principle, I go from the middle out on one side and then the other side. And again, you're going to want to wait for those to dry. Now, another little tip that I forgot to mention at the start is when you're looking for lashes when you're starting out, you want to look for ones that have a very thin band, preferably a clear band, because they tend to be the most flexible. So they'll bend easier around your eye shape, and they'll be more easier to stick down, they'll be easier to stick down, and they'll be more comfortable on the eye. So both of these styles that I have on today are nice and flexible. So you can see that they're able to bend and wiggle around. They're not stiff. But if you do have a pair that are a little bit stiff or have a thicker band, while it's drying like that, just give it that kind of a wiggle and get it into a bit more of a rounded shape, so it'll fit a little bit better around your eye. Now, before we go any further, one more tip that I can't believe I left out for a full strip is to just cut it in half. So you're basically left with 2 half lashes, one on the inside, one on the outside, but it breaks it down into 2 simple steps so there's less fiddling. So that is one thing that makes putting on a full strip a little bit easier. So now back to the tutorial. So now I can see that that's starting to go nearly black. So I'm going to pop that on. So again, looking down into a mirror, I'm going to place that in the middle. And then take my outer corner and pull that to where I want it. And then pop down my inner corner. Again, nice and close to the lash roots. And I just tend to go back in and keep holding down the inner corner until it's dried in place. Because as I say, it's the corners that tend to pop up. And again, if your glue isn't dry enough, they're not going to be completely tacky and stick down. So that is that lash on. Again, it's a nice subtle one, but you can totally see the difference that the 2 different styles make. This is more full and long in the middle, so it gives more of a rounded shape to the eye, whereas this just accentuates the outer corner. So lashes do make a massive difference, and they can really transform your eye look. So now I'm going to take this one off, and I didn't have a whole lot of glue on there, so I was just able to peel that off very, very easily. When it comes to the end of the day, or whenever you're taking off your lashes, you can either just peel them straight off if you're comfortable with that. But if you're not, or if you feel like there was a lot of glue on there, I would just take a cotton pad with your makeup remover or your makeup wipe, whatever you're using to take off your makeup, and just hold it over your eye and let it kind of soak into the glue and break it down a little bit. And you can start sliding it down or giving it a little wiggle, and it should come off fairly easily then. So then I will always reuse my lashes just to get the most out of them and get the biggest bang for your buck. So I just pop them back into the little box that they come in, and when I take them off, I tend to leave whatever glue is on there so that they'll stick back onto that little shape and keep their kind of curved shape. So I pop it on and just kind of stick it back down there. so they just sit there again. And then when it comes to reusing them, then I'll peel off all the glue and make sure that it's nice and clean before I put it back on my eye. So now on this eye we'll pop on a few individuals. So I have very little individuals, I need to buy some more. So I'm just going to pop a few just on the outer half so you get the idea. So you can get them in all different lengths. Depending on the brand, you might be able to get a full pack of just shorts or just mediums or longs or whatever it is. And then in other packs you might get a variety of, say, short, medium and long. So I'm just going to work with what I have left here. I am going to do a couple longs, a couple mediums, and then a couple, these are extra shorts. So it might look a little bit staggered, but you'll get the technique. So for this you are going to want to squirt out a little bit of glue on your palette or in your lash tray or on the back of your hand, whatever is easiest. I'm just going to pop some in the lash tray itself. And then what you're going to do is take your scissors and then I'll zoom you back in. So what you're going to be doing is taking your tweezers and getting under the lash, so as close up to the knot as you can get. So you're going to take your tweezers and get under the lash, grip on tight to it. So what you're going to do is take your tweezers, get one side under the lash and grip onto it as close to the knot at the top as you can, and then just give it a pull off. So it'll come off like this, and then you can see that there's little knots at the top of these. You can get ones that don't have any knots because sometimes those little dots are visible if you don't have, say, a liner on your eye, but I tend to always have a liner on. So then you just dip the knot or the tip of the lash into your glue just a little bit. So I'm not sure if you can even see that amount, but it's on there. And then because there's so little glue on there and because you're not trying to move it around, I don't find that there's much drying time at all. I tend to just go straight in with it. So again, looking down into a mirror, just come down from the top and place it down as close to your lash roots as you can. And the thing with individuals is to try not to fiddle with them too much. After you've put them down, try not to mess with them, just place them down and leave it. So just place it down like so, and then I'll take another one and do the same. So I'm just going to go right next to that one, or as close as you can get without disturbing it, and just repeat the process and keep laying them down next to one another. And if you're using a variety of lengths, you want to keep the longer ones on the outside and get shorter as you come in. And as I say, when you're putting one down, try not to disturb the other ones because it can get a little bit fiddly. If you need to, you can leave slightly bigger gaps between them and wait until they've dried right into place and you know they're not going to slide around too much, and then you can come back in and kind of fill those gaps. And you want to try and get your angle right so that you're not putting it straight down like this, so that it's going to stick right up into the air and so that it's not going to stick out sideways. Get your angle the way you want it to sit on the eye, and so that it blends in with the rest of them. So there I have 4 longs, I think, so I'll take a couple mediums. So I have 2 mediums now next to that, so they're starting to get shorter and blend into my natural lashes. And then if I had shorts, I would put them in there, but I don't have any shorts, so I'm going to use extra short, which are from Eldora. The extra short can be hard to find if you need them. So then I just popped 2 little extra short ones. I don't know if you can see them in there, just so that it doesn't stop so abruptly. So there you go, even more of a natural style. It's not going to stand out as looking like you have falsies on, but it will just look like you have really good natural lashes. And the other good thing about these, if you get the hang of them, is that you don't have to worry so much about corners popping up, because with the strip, if a corner pops up on the inside, it's very, very obvious, whereas if one of these comes off, you're not going to really notice that much. So that is another bonus to those. So now I'm just going to take these off and even out my eyes with this lash, and I'll be right back. So that is basically it from me. If you have any questions at all, do leave them down below, or if you have any requests for future videos, I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give it a thumbs up by clicking the like button down below so I know that you enjoyed or found it helpful. And also subscribe while you're here. I'm currently doing what I'm calling Janbeautary, where I'm posting a beauty video every single day throughout January. So do subscribe so you don't miss out. So thanks again guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!